Hi everyone, and welcome back to It All Starts With a Wish podcast. My name is Rachel.
And I'm Mark.
We're having some type of day today, I guess.
We are. The weather is
Gloomy.
disgusting.
Awful.
Disgusting. It has been disgusting all winter.
It's been really rainy.
Rain, snow, 36 in
No
rain.
sun.
Who likes 36 in rain? Gloomy, just no sun, no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Just absolutely blech.
Blech. Yeah. So.
I already hate winter. This is not making it better.
Well.
I don't like shoveling, but at least snow looks
Well, the rain
nice.
is washing the snow away. So.
Yeah, well, now mud. That's all that there is.
No,
it's mud.
Gross again.
And then guess what? It's going to get cold again. And it's all going to freeze. And then you're going to be like skating across your lawn because it's all frozen.
Well, that's why...
We're talking about Disney.
Yeah.
To bring joy to myself.
And then I was going to say that's why we shouldn't live in New England then, I guess. If you don't want this kind of weather. But, yeah, we're going to talk about Disney. We're going to do another resort review.
Love resort reviews. This is my jam.
I know. You do love these.
I do.
This is your favorite part. Mm-hmm. I'd much rather... Well, I meant like favorite type of like thing to talk about.
I guess so.
Maybe. All right.
I mean, but I got my Pirates of the Caribbean mug that I bought on this last trip with Mickey as a pirate. Mm-hmm. Got some nice black coffee in it.
Weirdo. No.
A little slurp there.
No ASMR for that. No. All right.
Well, people can't see me drinking my coffee.
We're going to stick with... We've done a few... Well, we've done some value resorts. We've talked about
value
briefly.
Resorts, yeah.
And we're going to stick with our deluxe category here. So our next deluxe resort that we are talking about is going to be Old Key West Resort.
Yeah, Disney's Old Key West Resort, formerly the Disney Vacation Club Resort.
Yes.
When it was first built, this was the first one, and it was the only DVC resort, and it was just known as Disney's Vacation Club Resort.
Yeah,
and then as they started to build more DVC villas and things, adding on to other hotels or just building new ones, they changed the name to Disney's Old Key West.
Yeah.
So it is Old Key West themed, as the name would seem to indicate.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And Key West is a lot more tropical and sunny and warm than here. So
yeah.
It's a good one to talk about.
We're going to transport ourselves into not the real Key West, but the Key West in Kissimmee. So, near Orlando.
As a reminder, for resort reviews, because it's been a little while since we've done a resort review. Just did a food review.
Yes.
But now we're doing a resort review again. Our 5 categories we're basing our decisions upon is 1, location and transportation, 2, theming, 3, rooms, 4, restaurant/food options, and 5, pool and other amenities. Yep. We'll be ranking each one of those categories on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being blech, like the weather. This weather is a 1.
Matching the weather.
5, the best of the best. Nothing better.
Nothing better.
Also worth indicating early in the podcast that we do have a live studio audience watching this performance today. It is our dog, Sadie. So if you hear grunting and groaning, it is just the dog. No need to fear.
She is just wanting our attention. So she'll join in, with any comments that she might have. Because she's always left behind on...
There she is.
She's always left behind on Disney Vacation, so maybe she doesn't want us talking about it.
But she's an expert.
She is an expert.
She's an expert on Disney vacations.
She is.
There is nobody I'd rather have plan a Disney vacation than Sadie the dog. Truly, she gives Pluto a run for his money.
Yeah. What do you have to say, Miss Bean? Anything?
No commentary.
Okay.
Anyways,
so
Old Key West Resort.
Old Key West. We have stayed there. So we actually stayed at Old Key West recently. We did our little baby moon there. So some of it wasn't the best experience for me because I got very sick.
You can't hold that against the resort. Though.
I'm not. I'm just saying that I wasn't feeling my best when we were there. So it was still a very nice resort, and I would I don't know if I would say there again though, but we'll get into that. So here we go.
Location,
First
transportation.
option. Okay.
Thoughts?
Location. It's literally a boat ride from Disney Springs. So if you are a foodie or you are doing more of a staycation type deal where you're kind of bouncing from a Disney resort to Disney Springs to doing other things around Orlando, like I think that is a really good option as far as that goes.
It is close to the golf course too.
Yes.
Like literally
You
golf
have one,
course
like, right
runs
there.
right through the resort almost. So yeah, there's golf carts driving by in certain sections because literally one of the golf courses at Walt Disney World runs right through the
It's right
resort.
there.
So it's in that Disney Springs area.
Yeah. So, I mean, something to keep in mind because the rest of the transportation is going to be buses.
Yep. If you're going
So,
anywhere but Disney Springs,
yeah.
Disney Springs, you can take a boat. It's a lovely boat ride.
It is a lovely boat. It's long. It's
It
nice
is a long
though,
boat
but
ride,
it is.
but it's a nice
It is
boat
kind
ride.
of long.
Everywhere else, buses.
Bus.
I think
Even within the resort.
yes,
Bus.
there are 5 internal stops at the hotel.
This hotel, let's talk about the location of it, kind of, is very large. I think this goes with location and transportation. It has almost like different neighborhoods, not as spread out as like Disney's Caribbean beaches, where they all have different names of like the buildings. However, it is very similar in that layout where there are groups of rooms and buildings together, and they have like little side streets and stuff. It literally looks like a neighborhood. Like, so it is very large.
And worth pointing out that was kind of part of the intention,
Kind of the point,
right? It
yeah.
was a community. Disney Vacation Club was a community, and so they wanted it to feel more like a mini community. When people came to the resort, they literally were coming home, as they always say, like,
Yeah.
welcome home, right?
Yep.
At all the Disney resorts. Like, that was their intent in forming it. So it does feel like a mini
It does.
town.
It feels
almost,
like a little town.
with different villages
Lots
in
of
the town.
people driving in. So I think that's very different than, I mean, literally any other resort. Maybe because people are staying there. They're probably Disney Vacation Club or they're local people or anything like that. And they're always like driving in. So you don't see a lot of like people coming in on like Mears transportations for like drop off. They still do. It's still a thing. But it has much more of a little neighborhood,
Yeah.
big neighborhood
Yeah.
feel to it.
Yeah, but it's spread out, and being close to Disney Springs, it is far from the parks.
Yeah.
So if we're basing our transportation and theming upon the idea of accessibility to parks
Right.
and transportation to parks, I'm going to have to give this a 3. I don't think that it's the worst in the world, but it's also not ideal for transportation to the parks. There is a world, though, I will say, in which if you're going for a very relaxed vacation, you just want to go to the parks maybe once or twice, you're bringing your own car, you want to golf, and you want to go to Disney Springs, it has a lot of a lot to offer for those people,
Yeah.
if that's what
But
your
I think
kind of trip.
I think that's the point, as we said, for Disney Vacation Club. These are kind of for people who go all the time. Right. So they don't really need to go to the park every day, rope drop to close. They're just kind of picking and choosing when they go. They can do other things. They're much more relaxed.
With that being said, though, someone who's going to the parks a lot,
I'm going to give it a 2.
Ideal. Oh, geez, okay.
This is just a personal thing. Buses are not my favorite form of transportation, though it is one of the main forms of transportation. But the real kicker for me was maybe it just depends on where we were in the resort as well. That's a big factor of what building you're in. But literally just to go to the park, it took 15 minutes just to stop at every stop within the resort before you left the resort. So it was like a 30-minute ride.
Yeah.
So that was a lot.
If you
for me.
are at the first stop, like you will be just in your own hotel for a solid 15 minutes.
It's a lot. So
it is a lot.
Keeping that in mind.
And if you're at the last stop, it's very possible that bus could be very full by the time the bus gets to you.
So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's
yeah.
a double-edged sword.
Transportation, not ideal. With Rachel, if this was solely on transportation to the parks, I may
nope.
give it a 1.
Yeah,
But
if it was on... but that's why I gave it a 2, because you have
for
the
the
boat to Disney
people-
Springs,
Yeah.
and I can see your 3 also for people who are doing a more relaxed vacation, and maybe they're not going to the park as much, then definitely. Like, we didn't go to the parks as much on our trip. We still did, but it definitely was more relaxed. The only thing that I can also say about transportation that I feel like, again, just be mindful. And if you're using, a Disney vacation planner like myself, depending on if you get proximity to the main building or that's something that you want, keeping in mind that when planning, because it took a long time just to get back to your hotel room and then remember, like, oh, I want to refill my refillable mug. Well, that's going to take me 25 minutes just to go do
Yeah,
do
it was
that.
a solid 15-minute walk between our room and the main building.
Yeah, and
where
again,
all that
that's
stuff was
just
located.
where we were. There are much closer rooms that are right across from the main building, but...
and I'm someone who likes to just get up in the morning and go down and fill up my coffee cup before anybody wants breakfast or before you want to leave or anything like that.
It was not worth it to walk all the way down there.
It was literally
come all the way
30
back.
minutes round trip to just go get coffee, and I'm like, this is not worth it. Like, some mornings it was nice to go for a little walk.
But like every morning.
But if you're trying to get to the park or something and there's a lot going on, I would rather just a 5-minute walk down to the quick service place,
take
fill
my
up my
little
coffee
elevator
and back up.
Down. Yeah. So that's something just to keep in mind when you're planning. If you want proximity to that, that's definitely ideal. They have preferred rooms as well that are close to them, but you're going to pay a little more for.
There were mornings when I just literally took the bus back to our section, like whatever bus came first.
With just your coffee. Like, where are you heading? I'm just trying to get back to my room.
Yeah. Anyways,
but that's pretty much on that. So
theming.
Okay, I really enjoy the theming to this hotel.
I agree.
I really, really do. Like, as much as I don't like the transportation, I really enjoy the theming. It has that Caribbean Key West feel. So, we lived down there and visited down there for a while, like the Key West area, and I feel like it feels very authentic to that area. The bright colors, the flags, how everything is, it's very well done.
It does have that South Florida Keys feel, and I do agree. I really like the theming here too, and I think part of that is the sense of community and family. Like, I love when you walk into places like Olivia's, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Yeah.
Please hold that thought. In like the community room and other places that like people have their family pictures on the wall. Like, people have literally brought in their pictures and they're up on the wall, and the walls are just covered with family pictures.
And it's usually like DVC families.
And like people who are first responders have like brought their patches in, and there's like walls of different fire department and police department and military branches, patches just on the wall. It feels like home.
Yeah.
You feel like you're
like you're visiting someone's
your
like
family
home neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
You get that feel of Disney
And can I
Vacation
just
Club
say that
being a community.
I love, and this is something I feel like you're more of a grandeur with lobbies and like main buildings, where like I appreciate those things, but I absolutely love how the main walkway is completely open air. It's all outside. It's just a nice wide, like, a tunnel causeway, and you have Olivia's, you have your gift shop, you have the front desk on the other side, but it's not like you enter a big building and everything's just right there, like your typical lobby. You get dropped off. It's breezy. It's outside. There's I don't know what you would call them, like the wood planks that go like across the top. Beams, just open beams with light fixtures. It's
trusses.
It's very, very nice. I really enjoy it. And then I enjoy, even though you're not right on the water, they have that big flag pole stand, and it literally looks like you're on a dock.
It does.
So
And
even
it is
though
a dock.
it is
for
a dock,
the
but a
river.
swamp dock.
Yes.
Not a ocean dock. But it still gives that feel. So, and everything is, like I said, outside. You're not walking through buildings like all the time. You're outside on the dock, walking to the gurgling suitcase, which we'll talk about, the pool, everything.
And even like the different communities too, in and of themselves. Like when you get into the cluster of buildings, it feels like a little neighborhood.
like little apartments.
Like
Yep.
there's white picket fences, and
Yep.
like the way that it's set up, it almost looks like condominiums and
Yep.
like a condominium style like building.
Like there's parking lot spaces.
Yeah.
Outside the buildings.
Yeah.
So like you feel like, oh, they're here today, or like, you know what I mean?
It feels like a community.
Like,
it
oh,
does.
they're still in their room, or they're like, yeah, like you can like.
And it sticks to that old Key West, South Florida theming.
Yeah, the pinks,
I'm
the
going
blues,
to
the yellows.
give the theming a 4.5.
Wow.
Like, I really, I agree. I think the theming is awesome, and I like the feel of it. I like that family community feel.
I will go 4, not 4.5, but I will go 4. I do think that. I think there are, in some ways, especially when you're out in the neighborhoods, if you don't like that neighborhood feel, you don't feel as I'm in Disney. So some people really enjoy that part, and other people like I still kind of want to feel like I'm in Disney, and I'm not just waiting at a bus stop in a neighborhood. But it is a cool experience, and you're waiting at a bus stop with a bunch of people, like you're on a main road. And we saw the same people every morning because we're right near there, and we're like, oh, hey. So yeah, it definitely has a community feel.
Rooms.
So it's cool.
It is cool. Rooms.
Rooms were great. Ours was updated, no? Didn't we get one of the updated rooms when we went?
Maybe, I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know if it was one of the updated ones.
But it was still very nice.
Clean,
yeah.
fresh. The size.
The size
I
was
think is
big.
the biggest thing that you have here.
It definitely feels more like a studio apartment.
It does.
Than a hotel room.
These are some of the biggest rooms on property that are, like, it may not have been square footage wise, but I'm thinking of, like, when we stayed at Art of Animation in the suite with your parents. This room felt bigger as just 2 beds. It was just a 2-queen bed,
2 beds.
1 bathroom, a little kitchenette thing. It felt bigger than that 1-bedroom studio.
And
it
we were
almost
on like
felt,
the corner too, so I think we got a little more square footage.
most of them
You
are,
don't think so?
That's
They're
what
all
they
the
all
same?
are
Wow.
like that, yeah.
That's crazy.
And I think that even the 2-bedroom in the beach club almost felt smaller.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. But even like the 1-bedroom, like you're saying, like that main room, like feels smaller than this one did.
So open,
But it
so
was
much
so
space to
open.
move around.
A lot of windows,
Lots of windows.
doors to slide to go out back. Our room in particular had the quiet pool right outside of it, so that was really nice. We'll talk about those in a second. But
Spacious bathroom, like a lot of room in the bathroom.
that bureau was ginormous. I was like, wow, are we moving in?
It does. It feels like an apartment that
It
like you're
does.
going to move into. Like this is meant to be yours, which again goes with what the intent was. I know we've said that a lot, but
we can confirm that the intent was met.
we can. But yeah, no, these rooms so spacious. They were clean, and it did. I don't think that we got one of the refurbed rooms, but
So
it
still felt refurbished. It felt like no one had even been in there.
yeah.
Like, you know how sometimes you can, you're like, oh yeah, this floor has been through a lot, or like whatever it is. Like you can.
With little kids, I know that we talk a lot about like family trips and
Yeah.
stuff like that. There is a ton of room for your kid to play in that room. Like in
Yeah.
the spread out, bring toys, and like
Like,
actually
wow,
like spread
the
out
floor.
and play in the
Yeah,
room.
just like, yep,
And
bring some
2
stuff.
queen beds in the room that we had.
And to think, like, we had a connecting door.
That's also worth noting, since
Yeah.
I said the queen beds, and this just popped into my head.
We
A
have the
lot of
connecting door.
DVC rooms will not have 2 actual beds in them. They'll
Yeah.
usually have a bed and a pull-out couch, or a bed and a Murphy bed,
Right.
or some kind of similar setup. These rooms had 2 beds in them.
Yeah.
In
So you
addition
could
to having a table area
break
and
off
stuff like that.
Yeah, with this little table. Oh my god, I'm just thinking back to like actually how much stuff was in that little room. Like not a little room, but like how much we had a big bureau, we had the little table, we had 2 beds, a bathroom, and
TV was a little small, but you're not
were we
really
really
watching
watching
the
TV?
No.
I wasn't really watching TV. Maybe when I was not feeling well and I was sitting in bed.
You got to put on.
But
your
I never
resort
watch
TV,
regular
though, and
TV.
just listen to the music.
Yeah, that's fine.
And, you know,
but I'm not going to watch a
updates for
TV
the
show.
day. I'm giving the rooms a 5.
Really?
I think these are some of the best rooms on Disney property. Cleanliness wise, feeling new, the space, just the space alone, 5.
I was feeling more 4.5 than like 5. But I appreciate your 5, but I'm doing 4.5. Since you already started with some decimals, I don't feel bad putting in a decimal now.
Thanks a lot.
Well, you started it.
I know I did. But, okay, so 5 and 4.5.
Yeah, great
Next, restaurants and food.
Ooh. Well, you got Disney Springs, and that alone has a bunch of food options, so you will never be
That's a fair
far
point.
away from like getting all kinds of different foods.
Thinking about that.
But okay, let's
that's
start
a fair
at the
point.
resort. Olivia's best fried chicken.
Oh my gosh.
Like
Olivia's.
when I tell you, I eat the green beans that they have there.
She doesn't like green beans, folks.
No, I'm not someone that's going to be like, oh, I really want like green beans.
No. Rachel's not big on the greens.
These green beans, it's probably because they're like so bad.
Maybe. Yeah, probably
so
cooked
much
in
butter.
like...
So they're so good. Like that southern cooking, crispy fried chicken.
Oh, the
white
chicken.
gravy.
If you go here and you don't get the chicken the first time you go, what's wrong with you? You got to
But
get
they
the
do
fried
also
chicken.
have really good seafood.
They have other good food.
Yes.
First time you go, you got to get the chicken.
What they
And
are known
you may
for
very
is
well
Olivia's
just
chicken.
get the chicken every time that you go.
Yeah.
It's hilarious when you go. Most restaurants you'll go to, you'll see everybody has a little something different at the table. Each table that you walk by. It's amazing at this restaurant.
Everyone
how
has chicken.
Almost everyone at every table has chicken.
I feel like the waiters and waitresses should just be like,
good.
all right, so how many chickens are we having?
I don't know what's in the crust on
So good.
that chicken.
Like the seasoning?
The breading on it.
Yeah.
But it is delicious. It's almost like a corn chip.
Yeah,
almost like if you put what do you call
like
those?
Fritos?
Not Fritos. The cereal.
Cornflakes?
Cornflakes. It's almost like a cornflake kind of.
I don't
like
think
that texture. It
Oh, it's
doesn't taste
crunchy.
like that.
No,
but
yeah.
It's that,
Yeah.
texture and that feel.
And the chicken is so
gravy.
tender.
Oh, the gravy. This is some of that best white gravy.
It is
that
so good.
chicken gravy. Oh.
And the potatoes are the good potatoes that actually have like they didn't peel them all the way, and they have like the chunks
They have some
in
peels
them.
in them, yeah.
Oh, that's the best kind. And then the green beans, like I said, the best. So get the chicken if you didn't.
Olivia's awful restaurant if you don't get there.
Terrible.
I'm
awful.
just joking. This is I would argue this is one of my favorite restaurants on
And
property.
just meals.
Yeah.
Like I could probably.
I literally would eat there every
Yes.
night if I could.
Yes.
I would be a fat lard by the end of the trip.
We only ate there once, actually, when we stayed on our baby moon, and then we went back just for Olivia's
We did.
on our last trip.
Yep. We did a little
So we
resort
went out of our
hopping
way
and
because it's
It's-
not that easy to get to.
It's worth it.
But it's
though.
worth it.
It's so worth it. Other food
Gurgling
options.
suitcase.
There's the gurgling suitcase,
Oh,
which is a
gargling,
bar.
gurgling.
Gurgling. I have a little beer mug that has gurgling suitcase
You
on
do?
it. I like it. I use it all the time.
It's very good. Every drink I've had there is great.
Drinks are good there.
Open air, bar. You can kind of walk in. Everyone's pictures are up there. It feels like you're at a local bar. TV's
That's
going.
where a lot of the patches are too in there.
Yeah. Yep.
And then there is a quick service counter service. Standard, nothing special, but we'll have your normal stuff that you would at.
Yeah, like breakfast bounty things and sandwiches and burgers and that kind of
What
stuff.
I will say, this has been pretty glowing for food and restaurants so far. It is pretty limited though. That walk-up counter service is relatively a limited menu. There are no other options
And
really
Olivia's is not open for breakfast.
in the whole hotel.
Yeah.
I think there's one other pool bar area that has some food available, but there are no real other food options at the hotel. And the hotel's so spread out that it's tough to get to that depending on where you are. Mm-hmm. If you're not close to the main building, it's a walk to get to any of
or
these
a
food
bus
options. So getting back to my coffee thing and and you are very close to Disney Springs, so there's a ton of food options there. So I understand why there's not a lot of options at the hotel, because you are literally surrounded by other options. But that is a boat ride to get to Disney Springs and to those other
it's
options.
not
And it's
like
not the
a
quickest boat ride
quick
either.
jump over.
It's not like when you're in Saratoga in certain buildings and you can literally just walk across the Disney Springs and all those food options are available to you. It's a solid 20-minute boat ride.
Yeah, no, it's pretty long. It's a nice one, but it is pretty long.
Right.
So, I mean,
With all these things being considered, what are we rating restaurant food options?
I'm gonna have to go with 3.5.
3.5.
Because it's hard. Because I don't want to weigh Olivia's too much. But there are no other like real restaurant or like the quick service stuff has very limited stuff on their menu. But Disney Springs is right there. So I kind of
noting the chicken though that you can get at the quick service is the same kind
same
of chicken.
chicken.
Pro tip there.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of split it down the middle. I didn't want one to outweigh the other.
I think that's fair. I'll go with 3.5 too.
Yeah.
I think that, the options that they have are very good, albeit counter service a little limited. But the Gurgling Suitcase, good drinks, Olivia's amazing, one of my favorite restaurants on all the hotel properties. But just kind of availability of food, I think that knocks it down at least a point, if not a little bit more. So I'm good with a 3.5. Last category we have is pools and other amenities.
This place does have a lot.
There's a ton of pools.
It's a lot of pools. There's your main pool.
Almost every community has its own pool. Not
Yeah.
everyone, but almost everyone has its own little mini pool. And usually a playground right next to it too. So
the playgrounds are
good
cool.
options for the kids.
Yeah, so you don't have to go all the way back. Obviously, the cooler pool with the sandcastles?
Yeah, sandcastles and stuff, yeah.
Big sandcastles and a slide and like all that fun stuff is all at the main building. But that's a really like fun thing, but I feel like it's not as like themed-ish. Like, I don't know. It's
not
good
the beach
theme,
club
but no,
pool.
it's not like over the top theming. But they have the community center room where you can rent movies and you can do games.
And this
They
is
have,
one
like,
of the best
like a tennis
community
court?
centers.
It was like an actual like
Yeah, there's tennis courts,
Yeah.
there's basketball,
it's
I think.
like crazy. You can
places.
get all the sports equipment you need to play with all of that stuff.
They have the Surrey bikes that
Yeah.
you can rent and ride around the resort. They have regular bikes that you can rent and ride around the resort. It's one of the best, I think, community rooms I've seen besides the one at Alawani.
Yes.
Alawani's is very good, but I think that's a product of, there's not much else happening
Yeah,
around
so
there,
like
so that's
kind of
why
have
it is.
to. Yeah.
And I think it's a similar thing at Old Key West that, it was intended for people to spend a lot of time at the hotel and to watch movies in their room. And
It definitely has more of the I'm here on vacation and we're hanging out on the resort than we're spending all of our time in parks. So they make sure that the amenities mirror that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of sports stuff to do. They have the giant, isn't it like a giant chess piece?
Yeah.
There's like a giant chess game.
A
And
nice fire pit that they
the
do
fire pit with
s'mores
the
and stuff like
s'mores.
that.
Yeah, so they have a lot of programmings and stuff too that they do, where cast members come out and they'll do things. And so as far as like stuff to do, I feel like there's a lot. So I feel like I would go with 4.
I was going to say a 4 for pool and amenities.
Yeah.
I think that there's so many amenities and so many pools and areas to go swimming and stuff like that. And the pool itself, although it's not a Stormalong Bay at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club, not many things are. So I don't think it's fair to use that as a litmus test.
But I'm saying like as far as theming goes, if it's a pool and it has some big
Neat
things
theming,
near it, and it just, I think the thing that turns me off from the pool is that big gate. Like it feels very theme parky. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. But I think overall, 4 is...
Oh, yeah, no. I'm just saying that. That's my only... So if that's my only, thing, I think that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay. Let's total it up and average it out and see what we get here. So, start with me.
Okay.
Shout out to Rachel borrowing her phone's calculator because I don't have my phone right now. Here we go. Location transportation. Mark gave a 3. Plus, yes, I'm talking about myself in the third person. Theming, 4.5. Plus, rooms, 5. Plus, restaurant and foods, 3.5. plus pool and amenities 4. Enter, that's a 20. Divide that by 5. That is a average score of a 4. So Mark with a 4. Me with a 4. Whichever one you prefer. Rachel.
I had
location and transportation.
2.
2 plus theming 4 plus rooms 4.5 plus restaurant and food 3.5 plus pool and amenities 4. That is a grand total of 18 divided by 5. That is a 3.6. So Rachel giving the final score of a 3.6. I giving the final score of a 4. It's pretty good.
I like that number.
You feel good about that number?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate.
I feel good about that. Because I don't think I'd want to give it a full 4.
Yeah.
Just...
Almost.
Yeah, almost.
Almost there.
Yeah.
Something important to note here before we give our final thoughts on Old Key West Resort is that this is a solely Disney Vacation Club resort. There are no standard rooms. So folks, if you do not have DVC, you can stay at Old Key West Resort, but you are going to pay quite a bit to stay there.
Quite a bit
DVC
more.
rooms are usually always a little more expensive to pay for out of pocket. So you can stay there if you do not have DVC, but the best bang for your buck is going to be using DVC points to stay there.
Right.
There are some resale sites. I'm not a huge fan of them, so I don't really talk about them a lot, but there are places where you can buy DVC points, even if you don't have DVC to use them. I don't like those places because I think that they take away from people who are actual members, but that is an option.
But a lot of people who know actual members to borrow some of their points if they're not going or that kind of thing. So
that's how those things exist, as actual members not using their points and selling them to these
I know, but don't sell them. I'm saying as companies. A friend, you're like, hey, here.
Anyways, so that is something to note. Old Key West, we feel pretty good about the 4 and 3.6 scores. Yeah. Would you stay there again?
I would stay there again. I would mentally prepare myself for transportation, but I think I would only stay there if I knew I wasn't doing too many park days.
Yeah. I think for the right type of stay.
Yeah. If I was going down there for a long weekend and we were just kind of down there just moseying around, then fine. But if it was for a family vacation, I don't think I would stay there.
I agree. For the right kind of stay, I think that it is the perfect place to stay, and I would happily stay there again. If it's going to be a theme park trip, though, where we want to do a lot of the theme parks, I don't think I would stay there.
Yeah.
So,
me either.
Anyways, something for you all to consider for your next Disney vacation. It may be the perfect place for you if you want to take a slower kind of go at a Disney staycation or something like that for people who live in Florida. We have friends down in Florida who love this resort and staying there. Yeah. So, definitely something for you all to consider. As always, I would like to remind you to follow us on our social media accounts. Follow or subscribe depending on whatever app you use to listen to us. Some places say follow, some say subscribe. I don't care which one you do, but follow us for those updates. Sure. And if you have any questions or want to reach out to us directly, feel free to send us an email at startswithawish.podcast@gmail.com. And with that, folks, remember, it all starts with a wish. We'll see you real soon.
Bye.